What if I told you that you can actually travel or study abroad on very low budget? Yes, it's possible. Here on the Study Abroad Experience podcast, I gather the experience of international students all over the world, from US, Canada, Europe, and Asia, to share their stories so that you know that it's possible for you to travel and or study abroad on very low budget. This is the Study Abroad Experience podcast. My name is Dan Legend. Hello everyone, Dan Legend here, and welcome to the Study Abroad Experience podcast, where I collect the experiences of international students, and then they get to share their story with us so that we're encouraged in our own study abroad journey. Today, I have with me a very special guest, but before I introduce her, I'm going to talk about the Telegram page that I have where we all gather for mock interview sessions. I also do have a Facebook page, a YouTube page, the page that is on TikTok, and an X. All on these pages, I share study abroad information, so you can follow, you can subscribe, and then it's going to benefit you in the long run. I believe that you are also listening to the audio sessions on Spotify. We have Apple Podcasts and so many other platforms that you can listen to the conversations that we have on there. All right, so Obehi, thank you for
Hi,
coming for today's session.
glad to
I
be
would
here.
like for you to introduce yourself and tell us who you are and where you're coming from education wise. Let's know your educational background. Thank you.
Okay, my full name is Obehi Oye Omokwali. I normally go by Obehi. So I am right now. I'm doing my PhD in rhetoric, writing, and culture in the English department at North Dakota State University. But originally, I actually am a lawyer. So I did my bachelor's of law in University of Benin for 5 years. I went to Nigerian Law School, Kano. I did NYSC. I practiced law for like 2 years. Then I came here to do my Masters of Communication in North Dakota State University. And right now I'm doing my PhD. I am Nigerian. I am from Edo State. I am Isan. What else is relevant?
Ah,
I can't stop
I
there.
think you've touched on the very essential
Yeah.
things.
Okay.
So yeah, I see you have transitioned from studying law, doing communication, and now pursuing a PhD. How has the change been like? How has the experience been like? Has it been very easy, difficult? How? Tell us
I
more.
can't I can't say it's easy. Every time I tell someone how I transition, they're like, "How did you do that? Why are you doing this?" It hasn't been easy, but it's easier for me because everything was connected and I had a brief outline of what I wanted to do. So it was really
Okay.
connected. While I was practicing law, I did a lot of I joined this club called Toastmasters International, which teaches you public speaking. I did a lot of speaking engagements, and I
Right.
also did some research in the field. So I wanted to know more about that. So I went into a master's in communication. But then in doing a master's in communication, of course, you have a research area. Mine was UX research, particularly usability testing. And then I
Oh,
figured that I wanted to branch out to a different field. I've always wanted to study English, actually, and I've tried to in various ways. So I thought, why can't I do my PhD in English and finally do what I've always wanted to do, particularly? So I just did it. But it wasn't, I can't say it was easy transitioning because
yeah.
lawyers write a certain way. If you're in the
Hmm.
field of communication, I had to learn to write and research a certain way. And now in English, I'm learning to research a certain way.
In a
So I
certain
think,
way.
yeah, exactly. So if you love to read, you want to learn, you're an adventure, you are adventurous in reading and writing, then the transition would be easier.
Right. Okay, that means that for you, that path is still continuing. It's not that you have thrown away the whole law pursuit or the communications pursuit. It's just like a build up on what you want to do in the future, I guess, right?
Yes, everything is connected. I mean, all knowledge is connected. It's just we try to separate it into different fields and subjects, but all knowledge is connected. There is an intersection between law, communication, and English. I know not everyone
Hmm.
can see that intersection, but I can. I can see how it's relevant to what I want to do in my career. So I haven't thrown away anything. I'm just building up on certain facets that I wanted to
Yeah.
build on initially.
Oh, okay. That's great. So with you are coming from Nigeria to the
Yeah,
US, right? We
yeah.
want to know what really pushed you to pursue studies in US? Why not Europe? Why not Australia? But US. What is your motivation for moving to the US to study?
That's such a good question. I would say American dream. But really, I mean, I remember when I was in 200 level University of Benin, I wrote in my journal, I want to do my master's in US. At that time when I had that dream, I mean,
Yeah,
University of Benin, I had the dream to be in US because I mean, you watch a lot of American movies and you can imagine what their colleges are like. And I just wanted to
yeah.
experience what it was like in school in the US. I think that was it. I can't give a more phenomenal reason than that. I just really wanted to experience what it was to be in US. So in a way, US was my only choice for masters for further education was actually my only choice.
Oh, okay. So for you coming to the US, I know they are we have admission requirements, right? And every school has what they are looking for in
Yeah.
terms of the admission requirements or the documents that they want to take from you. And did you have to write any statement of purpose? Did you submit some transcript evaluation? How did it go? Especially coming for your master's, right? Because you moved from undergrad in Nigeria to a
Yeah.
master's program first.
Yeah.
So any admission requirements that you have to meet?
Oh, there were so many. I mean, first of all, I had to research the schools I wanted to be in. So I researched the schools and I saw the program I wanted, and then I researched like what are the admission requirements. This took me about a
Right.
year, so it was like a
A
year of
year.
planning. Yes, like a year
Wow.
of consistent planning because by August 2021, the idea came do masters in US, and I entered August 2022. So I found out that I needed to have my transcripts, get my transcripts from Uniben, evaluate them through WES, get my statement of purpose, get 3 recommendations, do GRE. That's the GRE as well. So
Wow.
I started planning. So by September, I applied for my transcripts. I got it like 3 months later, got that sent to WES. At the same time, I was preparing for GRE to write in
Hmm.
December. I was preparing by myself. At the same time,
Wow.
I would say this to anyone: if you want to get recommendations, if you need 3, find 6 people
Hmm.
because you have to
Hmm.
assume that 3 may disappoint you because of conflicting schedules or timing conflicts. So I had to
Wow.
work on that as well. So I kind of
Expected
just
50% disappointment rate.
you have to expect it. So I just had to have like I had a calendar like by this time I must have done this. So transcript took 3 months. So at the same time I'm preparing for GRE, gave myself like 3 4 months to do that. So
Mm.
By January, I wrote GRE. The deadline for was March 15th. So by January, I
Right.
wrote GRE. I had evaluated my transcript through West when I got it in December. I had my GRE, so I was fully focused on my SOP. That took me some weeks going back and forth, and of course, arranging your CV. So everything was ready, like every single, like all the materials were ready. Like
Yeah. Everything is
honestly,
ready.
1 week to the deadline because when you write GRE, it takes some weeks before your score,
Hmm.
that is your writing score gets across. So everything was
Right.
ready like a week to the deadline.
Oh, okay. So concerning this GRE, right?
Yes.
How did you prepare? Do you have any kind of recommendation on the GRE materials we can use? Do you have
Yes,
them?
I
Yeah.
do. Yes, I do. I have recommendations. Okay. So I'm coming from a background I didn't have to do so much
Hmm.
mathematics, and GRE
Right.
has a lot of quantitative reasoning.
Yeah.
And so when I first saw that the GRE courses was a lot.
Hmm.
It was a lot for a month. I realized that okay, I need to try and just do this on myself and study.
Hmm.
So I had there were some materials I got online. I can share that with you later, where I learned a
Right.
lot of
Right.
words. I was learning like 10 words a day. I bought Kaplan GRE, the latest one,
Hmm.
the textbook. So I gave myself like a schedule that I have to read and know a certain amount of material per day because that
Yeah.
was the latest one. So that was like the GRE syllabus as a 2022. So I was just working on
Okay.
that in the English, in the verbal reasoning, the quantitative reasoning. So
Right.
learning words, practicing the comprehension questions, practicing the math questions, practicing the essays. Most people don't practice essays. I don't know why, but you have to
Hmm.
practice the essays. So I just kind of gave myself a time. The math was particularly hard for me. So literally, I got my brother and my brother's friends because they're doing engineering to teach me maths. because I didn't want to
Yeah.
pay for it. So I had to get like my younger ones to teach me, and they really taught me so well. And I just did my best in 3 months of focus to actually to learn it. But if you have, I would say get the latest textbook. You can
Hmm.
get Kaplan. There's also this £5 textbook you can get. It has a lot of math questions. There are materials for learning words. There's Magus GRE. You can literally install the app and be learning words on that. And then there are also groups online, like Telegram groups, there are WhatsApp groups, people that are learning
Yeah.
GRE
Yeah.
together. I didn't have that. I didn't even know about that. So you can also join
Wow.
them and learn with people. And then if you have the money, you can also join the school and let them just teach you everything.
They
So
teach you all that.
yeah.
Yeah, because I learned the math is very, very, very challenging.
Oh my
And
goodness.
did you
It
even
is.
you didn't need a minimum like cut-off score?
No, my school actually, I don't know, they didn't actually give us a minimum. They just said have GRE. In fact, it was
Just
have
have
a
it. Okay.
research paper or GRE. And at the time,
Oh,
even though I had known some things in communication, I didn't have a research paper in communication. I know how I said that there's a setting with the right. And I didn't know if I could give my law papers. So in my mind, GRE would have was the easier option. Then
yeah.
I realized it wasn't. Because I mean,
Wow.
as much as I read for math, I
Hmm.
I mean at a point like it were like 5 minutes left. I started just guessing answers. I just
Yeah,
started
you start
guessing.
guessing. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
just
It's true.
started
The same
guessing.
thing happened to me. Yeah.
Honestly, there was no minimum, so I think that's what helped me.
Yeah. And with the verbal, right, the English side. So for those
Yeah,
who don't know, quant is the or quantitative is the math side, and then the
yeah,
verbal is the English side. For
yeah.
verbal, I think you have to study about 4,000 words. You have to know like, is it 2,000 or 4,000? The number of words, the vocabs that you need to have.
Honestly, I just
I
kept learning
I
words. I
think,
mean, I love learning words normally, but just kept learning. I don't even know how many I did.
yeah, yeah, I think they have that amount. Anyway,
Yeah.
so can you share tips with us on how you prepared your statement of purpose?
Okay, so my statement of purpose, the first thing I did was I realized that every school has a format. If you check different school websites, you will see they all have formats for statements of purpose. The statements of purpose. So
Right.
I checked what NDSU's own was, and I saw that there were
Hmm.
four things that they required in a particular format. Like okay, I can't remember the order now, but like
Hmm.
background, work experience, research. And so when I had that format, I realized I wanted my SOP to be in that particular format.
Right.
So everything, of course, so the thing is, you want a course, right? But then US
Hmm.
is very, very particular on research. You have to have a research area that you want to pursue in that field. So at the time, I was looking at of course, your research areas evolve over time, obviously. So I was looking
Oh yeah.
at intersection between how social media affects people's mental health. So that was my research area at that time. So what I did was I checked the website, NDSU websites in communication to see other professors that have similar research areas.
Right.
So
Oh,
you
okay.
check that, and then you now have to look at your life and think about how everything help is going to help you get there. So, for example, your educational experience, maybe that's in one paragraph. How does that connect
Hmm.
to the research area you want to pursue in that course? How does your work experience connect? How is what you're doing connecting?
Doing it. Yeah.
Do you have other papers that you're doing to connect? So everything is
Hmm.
connecting to that research area. I think that's what most people miss. They write a statement of purpose that tells the people their work and school, but your CV already has that. Your CV has that. So your SOP is
Yeah.
saying who you are and your motivations. So your motivations through what you've done in school, through what you've done in your career, through what you've done as a researcher has to connect to the research area that you are saying you want to study in that school. And then in that paragraph, you can also add you want to work with this professor in this research area. So that this is really important. Just make sure your motivation throughout to get that research area is strong and it has shown through all your schooling, all your work experience, and it's showing now. It's not easy to make a connection like that. I literally had to write out, okay, what have I done in my education? What have I done in my extracurricular activities? What have I done in
Yeah.
work? How has everything connected to this research area and what I want to do? Because if you can connect
That's true.
everything, then people would know that okay, this person knows what they are doing because they're going through
You know.
many
Yeah.
SOPs and CVs. They will know that this
Hmm.
person knows what they're doing and why they're doing it because this place it is very individually research
Yeah.
oriented.
Yeah.
So you need to show that you can do the work through your SOP itself.
Yeah. I think it's very, very essential. the fact that you have to also know the research interests of the professors, because I have
Yes.
an upcoming on the path to writing a very good statement of purpose, and then one of the things that I highlight is always check out the research interests of the person that you want to work with, because let's say you want
Yes.
to work in one area and it's not the same research interest of the professor, then you're not going to get a scholarship. But you're not going to, even if you
Yeah.
get the admission, the funding is not going to be there for you because you are completely interested in something different. So I think
Sorry,
that
can I
is
can I
very, very
touch on
essential.
that? Can I touch
Yeah,
on that?
sure, sure.
So, okay, I think it's kind of different for science and arts departments. You were in science
Mhm.
department, right?
So
Like,
I was in science, yes,
okay,
applied economics, yeah,
okay,
MSc.
so for us department like communication, they
Hmm.
don't really give you graduate assistantships through the professors. I know that in science you
Oh,
always get it through that because it's a research assistantship. Most
yeah,
of the
yeah.
time for us, it's a teaching assistantship that we get. So it's the
Oh,
department
okay.
that is going to give you that GA, not the professor. So you put in the
Oh,
research
okay.
area with the professor, it's more like the person is going to be your thesis advisor, but like in let me just speak for North Dakota University, Masters of Communication, you
Yeah.
don't really get research assistantship through the professor like you do in science departments. It just means that you
Oh,
want to
okay.
work with the person, then they probably be your advisor for your thesis or something.
Right, right. So that means that it is also possible for people in the arts to get some kind of assistantship, even if it's not research.
Yes,
Because
it's
sometimes
actually
people
very
think that if you're not
common.
in STEM, you cannot get.
That's a big lie. That's a very big lie. Like that they're doing their
So
research. They are teach.
if I studied English, right, in undergrad,
Yes.
and I want to transition to the US, I could still get a scholarship for that.
Yes, this is so common. I mean, it's just that it's not science. They may have both research and teaching assistantships because they have that kind of
Right.
funding. But arts, they would
Hmm.
have more of teaching assistantships. So you're going to teach a lot.
To
So
teach. Oh, okay.
communication has because in my department, I mean, all the master students had teaching
Hmm.
assistantships. All the PhD students had for communication and even in English. I think
Right.
everyone in my cohort has a teaching assistantship. Almost everyone has in PhD. So you have to do your research, check the school. There's a way I showed my someone how to do this, how to know if a
Hmm.
school will most likely offer you GA. You have to look at like this. This is a lot of research, though. For
Hmm.
example, when I went to NDSU website and I saw that in proportion, they said that they most of their master students are giving teaching assistantships or your are giving teaching assistantships. Yes. So I looked
Hmm.
at the wordings of it, and I looked at is it hard to get it in the application
Right.
in the application portal. All they had to say was I just had to tick a box. I require teaching assistantship. So I don't think thought about it. If it's easy and if the wording on the website seems I may get it, it may be easier. And then when I looked at another school in South Dakota, I don't say the name, in South Dakota, what I saw online was that 50% of their students get it. Whereas NDSU, I didn't say this before, another place said that 75% of their students get a GA. So in school in South Dakota, 50% of students get it. To get a GA in their own department, you would have to go through an interview, a hiring process, an interview process. You have to go through different processes to get it. And I realized, okay, if NDSU's one is easier, then I may most likely get it. And actually,
Mm.
most of us did get it. So you have to check really like reading between the lines in the website. Some schools would say all our PhD students are assured GA. Some would say you may be
Oh, okay.
considered for a GA. Some would say you may
Right.
have to go through a process. So really look at what they are saying. If you can go through other stats and see what is the proportion of people that get a GA in this department, you can check that online. You can ask people like in different social media platforms. Just actually do research and find out because it's actually maybe easier to know if you'll be assured GA for that department and that school.
Oh, okay. So will be given funding and may be given funding. Would you recommend that I do more inquiry with the department if they say you may get funding, or I should
Yes,
just overlook it?
yes, do more inquiry. You can even ask the graduate coordinator. Like these people, they like a lot of emails. Ask them, send an email. Do you have funding? Let me know if I'm wasting my time. Don't say,
Yeah.
people, let me know you're wasting my time. Ask them, do you
Yeah,
have
yeah,
funding?
yeah.
What do I need to do to get funding? In fact, every school you want to apply to, after you've done the research, like I said, send an email to the graduate coordinator. Can I get funding? Is funding available? Keep asking because there's no need
Right.
doing West evaluation, getting recommendation, and then you come and not know what to do. So please ask the graduate coordinator, ask people in the department. Even
Hmm.
their GA, their graduate teaching assistants or research assistants are on a department website. You can email one of them.
Yeah,
I did that. Ask them what
yeah,
it's
that's
like.
true.
Do people easily get GA? This is the work for
Mm.
this, in my opinion, is the research, finding out. Because I don't see the point of wasting energy or time if you don't think you can get funding for that school to fund your education.
Yeah, and I think that is very good because it's like you're asking firsthand from someone who is in a position that you are seeking to
Yes,
be in, right?
yes,
That's it. So,
yes.
what do you do as a teaching assistant?
I teach. Okay. Well, it's a lot more than teaching. I
Yeah.
know not everyone has teaching experience. My mom has a school, so I already
Hmm.
used to teach in primary school, but now I'm teaching college students. In
Yeah.
communication, I taught them Com 110, Introduction to Public Speaking. I had like 90 adults, so like 30 kids in each class. So you
Wow.
teach a lot. You have to prepare your material to teach, and you have to grade. And so, in between all of that, you have to fit in your actual schoolwork, your reading, your assignments, your research that you're doing outside of school, your own life. So, you have to
Hmm.
prepare your material to teach. You have to stand and teach, and you also have to grade. So, you can't. Most people learn on the job. To be very honest, you just learn how to balance everything and do that, and how to teach. But you really just teach.
You just teach. Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. Now, guys, at this point in time, I just want to remind you that I have other channels that you can follow and get more content. Some of the channels, I don't share some information depending on the context. All right. So I'm still speaking with Obehi, and we are discussing full scholarship opportunities for masters and PhD. She has completed a master's in the US and is currently pursuing a PhD. We're going to talk about the PhD and life as a PhD student. We're going to talk about that. But the next question now, at this moment, I want you guys to also be preparing your questions. Just put them in the comment section. If you are watching on Facebook, YouTube, and X, just put them in the comment section, and I'm going to read. If you have any question you want to ask here, also let us know in the comment section. So, tell us how would you compare the kind of educational system experience that you had in Nigeria as against the one you're having in the US? How is it like? What are the pros and cons?
That's such a good question. Well, I guess there are different areas, different areas of life. Okay. In terms of teaching, that is someone teaching. I would say
Right.
I got taught more in Nigeria because here you enter a class and they're asking you, what is your opinion on on this theory? No one is really teaching. Some people teach, to be honest, some professors teach, but most of them they have this interactive way of learning. So you have to read before coming to class, and then you have to discuss. And then if you have a question, some of them would say, "What do you think about that?" So they would throw
What
the
do you
question
think
back
about
at you. Like I think
hmm
they would throw it back at you for you to figure it out in your own brain. So they really, yeah. So I would say I was taught more in Nigeria, but I would say my opinions are appreciated more here because in Nigeria I mean, you have to, as at the time I was a bachelor student, I don't know what it's like as a master student in Nigeria. I can't speak for that. By the time I was a bachelor student, a lot of the time when you're giving answers, they want you to repeat what they told you. But here, they really, really love creativity and innovation, like
Mm,
in your answers. Nobody wants plagiarized work. They want you to have ideas. So I would say my opinions are appreciated here. So if you want to be taught thoroughly, this is not the place because here they do so much on your own learning. It gets annoying sometimes because I'm coming to learn, but literally I'm teaching myself and I'm
yeah,
teaching other
yeah, teach
people.
yourself.
You're teaching other people, are teaching yourself
Yeah.
literally most of the time. In terms of environment, of course, I
Hmm.
prefer here because I mean, in many ways, it's more comfortable, like the Wi-Fi and everything. Like I said again, I don't
It's
know what
nice.
it's like as a master student in Nigeria. Maybe some schools are amazing. I don't know, but here I would say I prefer the environment. Now, if you talk about social environment,
Hmm.
definitely prefer Nigeria. Definitely 100 times prefer Nigeria because
Yeah,
um I'm going to pick my words very carefully on this.
yeah, yeah. Pick your point.
So so in Nigeria you grow up seeing people like fellow Nigerians And because you
Hmm.
grow up in that way, you understand the lingo, you understand the language, you understand how people may
Right.
behave or react. And so it would be
Yeah.
easier to relate with each other when you see each other. But then if you come to the US, it's a different experience, a different language, a different setting. So it's
Hmm.
going to be it can be a bit hard to fit into that scene and start having friends or start talking from tabla rasa. It's going to be hard to make that switch. So in a way, most of the time we may be what you're familiar with may be easier than here in terms of the social environment. But some people thrive here. I mean, some people thrive. I'm not saying you may or may not thrive. I'm just saying that
Hmm.
that shock of a new environment may be a bit
Right.
difficult. Yeah.
But has it been easy making friends, since you've been in a new environment?
I'll be honest. Well, I mean, so what I've done actually is I try to surround myself with as many Nigerians as I can.
Hmm.
So, because like I said, it's easier to go with what you're familiar with. So, for example, I'm in a
That's
community of
true.
Nigerian students. I'm living with Nigerians. I try to live with Nigerians. But I also have friends from other countries. I have Pakistani friends, I have Bangladeshi friends, and I
Hmm.
have white friends as well. So it's just I would say to just make the shock easier, try to surround yourself with Nigerians or black people, even international students, because they may understand your experiences better, and then you kind of shift into being having friends from everywhere. Some people may find that
Yeah.
easier, actually. Some may not,
Hmm.
because your accent can be an issue. They may not hear you. You may not feel free. You would
You may
have
have
to
to repeat
form.
yourself all over.
I mean, at the time I tried to buy something, I said I want water. They were like, "What?" I had to say water for them to understand what I'm saying. So it's
Water,
like
yeah.
you're not. It's like you're not free, and if you're not free, how do you relate when you're not so free? So I would say try to
Mm.
be with the familiar and then gradually get into the unfamiliar. Because if you're teaching, you have to be with the unfamiliar. Like all my students are like I don't have any. I never teach any Nigerian or black students. So you have to get used to the unfamiliar very quick. And then when you do, you
Yeah.
realize that at the end of the day, we're all humans. It's just we may have different
Mm.
skin colors, different
Yeah.
language, different ways to talk, but everybody is just a human at the end of the day. Once you get used to
Mm.
the unfamiliar.
Yeah. One people, different colors then.
Exactly.
All right. So now people are also concerned about,
Yeah.
the visa interview process. So I'm going to take questions on that. But before that, I
Okay.
want to answer this from Intri Adam. He's saying which school is NDF? She's
Oh,
actually talking about,
NDSU,
yes,
North
it's
Dakota State
NDSU
University. North Dakota State University. Yes.
University.
Yes.
Right, right.
I said that too
Okay, so
fast.
before,
NDSU.
yeah, yeah, no problem. Okay, so before we talk about your visa interview process, let's talk
Okay.
about the schools that you applied to. Was NDSU the only school, or you applied to some other schools? And then let's check out their website.
Okay. For my master's, I only applied to North Dakota State University. That is a huge gamble that I don't advise anyone to do. But the only reason I applied here was I conducted massive research. Like in my mind, I was 90% sure that I would get a GA and I would get
Right.
admission because I did the research. So I would say go to graduate school and then maybe come to master. You want to enter the communication department, right?
Okay,
Or
so yes, let's try and do that.
okay, go to graduate school. No, just the graduate school link.
The
Yeah,
graduate school
programs. Yeah,
programs
yes. So scroll down. So master's degree programs and doctoral degree programs are there.
right here. Okay,
Yeah. Then
and then we look for.
communication is there. English is there.
Okay, so
Yeah,
which
communication.
which one are you?
Communicate communication.
Communication. Okay,
Communication.
okay.
Yes.
So that's what you chose.
Yes, so I went through this
Okay.
website and many other websites. I looked at their requirements, the
Hmm.
admission requirements. I spoke to the graduate coordinator. Man, that man knew me by force. Like I really needed to be
Is
sure
it
that I would.
Justin, Dr. Justin here, right?
As at that
Or was
time,
a
it
different
was
person?
Dr. Moedik. It was another person, but he has
No,
taught me
okay.
as well. At that time, it was Dr. Zoltan. So,
Hmm.
okay, so the admission requirements are up. Okay, admission requirements
Right
are
here.
no, up like on the page under overview.
Okay, okay, right here.
Yeah, yeah,
Good.
yeah.
So, guys, you see that CV or resume, writing sample, right? Evidence of effective teaching potential. Include this GRE. I think that's what you wrote the GRE, right? And
Yeah.
then TOEFL test result required for international students. I think some schools do waive off if you have an
No,
English
NDSU
proficiency
does.
letter.
And if you're from
Yes.
Nigeria, many of them know that we speak English a lot, so they
Yeah.
waive that off.
Yeah. And if you have financial assistance, right? Students admitted at full of conditional status will be considered for teaching assistantship at the master's or doctoral degree level. Very
Yeah.
easy.
Did you
And
see
then
the word? The
here,
wording will be considered.
yes, will be, yeah, not even maybe, right?
Will be exactly. So that's
Will
what made
be.
me have the impetus, the mind to just focus
Yeah.
on this school. Yeah, will be exactly.
Yeah, that's good. And you see, even the application deadline is still open for fall semester
Yes.
2025.
Yeah, for next year August. Yes.
Right. It must be
Yeah.
completed before that.
Yeah.
So, which other
Everything.
schools for your PhD program?
Okay. So for my PhD, I also applied. Okay. So for my PhD, I applied to Northern University and Ohio State University.
So, Ohio State University,
Yes.
which is this, Pursuit of
Yes.
EDU.
Yeah. So
Oh, okay. So, what program did you?
their PhD in English.
Oh, okay.
So
So, you can also use the search button here, guys.
okay.
So, they have their Department of English
So come to graduate. Like that's probably the best thing.
right
No,
here.
yeah, graduate programs. Yeah,
Yeah,
graduate programs. Can you see the wording? 100%.
100%.
So you would actually know from the website, like your chances if you get admission. You would know. It would
Wow.
show 100%.
Wow.
And why I apply?
Wow.
Yeah,
This is the
honestly.
easiest recommendation right before your eyes, 100%.
Check
This is
it.
like
Just check.
80%. Just check. I always tell
Yeah,
people, see, if you spend the time to do the research, you're going to get a school that's going to fund you.
exactly. Just sit down and do
Always
the
people are saying that,
research.
oh, Danny, I'm not getting the scholarship. I'm like, you're not doing enough research. You're not
Yeah.
doing enough.
You
Because if
have
you do
many
enough, you're going to come
here.
across all these things.
Yeah.
You see that? It's
Hmm.
amazing.
Yeah.
So let's go to the visa interview experience. Tell us
Okay.
your experience at the visa interview. How was it? Was it easy? How was it like?
Well, the visa interview. At the time I did the visa interview, I didn't have access to WhatsApp. You know, there are a lot of WhatsApp groups and Telegram groups where people do it.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like because I did not know how much people were denied, I kind of had more confidence. Does that make sense? I
Oh
just,
yeah.
at that point, it was just like me and my family, I was just trying to figure this out. So I didn't understand the gravity of what it is, like how
All
people
right.
get denied a lot. So all I did was I realized I checked online like impossible visa questions.
Mm-hmm.
I had to practice like I was going to do a drama, like practice my responses, and then I went to the interview. I mean, I would admit that it was kind of scary because, I mean, for me, I had this white man that was kind of like towering. It seemed like he was standing on the stool, so I was like looking up and repeating repeating my responses. I just
Yeah,
kept
that's an
praying in my
uncomfortable
mind,
posture.
guy. I just kept praying in my mind, like God, please. So it was. I rehearsed my responses, but then I also had full funding because the reality right now is okay, I didn't have full. I had most of the funding. Reality right now is that it's as if you don't have full funding, you're not going to get the visa. Like right now, it seems so
Yeah,
much
yeah.
harder.
Because I feel like a lot of people are trying to move into the United States, so they have to make
Yes.
their entry requirements very strict.
Yes.
Mhm.
So right now you would have to have full funding. Like that's the best advice I can give anyone. You have to do your research and get it. Because at the time, I mean, like master's students, I just had like maybe $3,000 deficit. So I had
Mhm.
most of the full funding. So I feel like at the time I was in my interview, they always look for your weaknesses. So mine
Yeah,
was how are you
to
moving
punch.
from law to communication? I already knew that was coming because not everybody can
Yeah.
make that, can connect different places in their
Hmm.
career. So I already knew how to make
Exactly.
that connection. So I was firing. I was scared, like my heart, I was shaking, but I just looked like I was confident. Like you have to fake confidence with
It's
these
funny how
people.
even when you have like full funding, with a very small deficit, you are still shaking, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's kind of scary. Like you're standing in the line and the people call you up. It's not giving. So they
Yeah.
drilled me on many questions like, why are you making the switch? Where are you going
Hmm.
to stay? How did you get full funding? What else did he ask me? How did you get full funding? And what are your plans after? So you have to have
After.
your answers ready and you have to really be confident because if they see that you're shaking, you can shake, oh. Like what I used to teach students when I taught in public speaking, you have to fake it. So even if you're shaking, just be looking into their eyes and be
Yeah.
talking. Just keep looking and be talking because you really have to try and be confident as much in what you're saying.
Yeah.
So know what you're saying and then give your answers. It's not easy, honestly. Going through it, being denied, like
Mm.
I know people that have been denied many times and it's hard. But then you have a
Right.
dream and you just want to keep trying. And I
Hmm.
really do commend people for like just keep trying, honestly. Because even
Keep
me, I had
trying.
to renew my visa. So I know what it's like to
Wow.
go through it twice. So
Wow.
yeah,
So,
just
okay, so you
yeah.
just had two experiences in all.
For visa, yes, too.
Yes. Oh, okay. So the first one was a rejection, and then you had to now
No. Like I had
not.
my master's experience. I got
Okay.
to, and then for my PhD, I went to get a visa again
Oh, okay. All right.
to renew my
So
visa.
with
Yes,
the
I had to.
right. So with the deficit, right, the 3K deficit, was it like health insurance or some student fees that were,
No,
hidden and
like
stuff?
okay, so for the master's department, right? So they would calculate how much they are giving you in a year
Hmm.
for what they gave us, and then the cost of attendance for NDSU.
Okay.
So the cost of attendance of masters, it never actually reaches that, except you're a PhD student. Then what they are giving you in a year, that is your stipend, can actually exceed the cost of attendance. But as a master's student, it doesn't exceed. So that balance of 3,000, because the health insurance is 2,100 as at that time. So it could be other things. It could be health insurance and it could be cost fees. But it's just like this is the total deficit that you have, and then you have to demonstrate that you can cover that.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you, Obehi. Now, at this
Yeah.
point in time, I want to go to the comment section. I see some comments coming in. So I'll
Okay.
take a couple of them. Linda is saying that, so this question also goes to you, but then if you need
Okay.
help in answering, I'm always here. It says,
Okay.
please, my question is, I'm currently studying for my bachelor degree in education and will be completing next year, God willing. Please, when is it advisable I start my applications to school abroad?
Okay. So if the person is completing it next year, I'm going to guess they are completing maybe August, September. And if they want to do a master's, they can also go for a PhD directly. Most people don't know. You can do a PhD directly. If they want to go for a master's or
Yeah.
PhD, it means that they are looking at 2026. So I
Hmm.
would say as soon as you're done, start the process because in my case, it took a whole year to plan. That is, start the process of research, know everything the school requires, and then start getting that one by one. As you're doing your school, please get six professors who can recommend you. Get six people, even though it's three, you need get just get six people or seven.
Nice.
Get them and then start outlining what you would need. You would need your statement of purpose. You will need your transcripts. Some schools would say evaluate the transcript through West or send unofficial transcript. Look for how you can get someone to evaluate your transcript as soon as possible. To get your transcript from your school when you're done, work on your SOP. Some schools don't require GRE. You don't even need GRE in most schools. Just stress myself. So try and start getting everything as much as you can because if you finish by August, September, the admission you're looking at would be the August of 2026, the year after. But the thing is, even if it's August the year after, the deadline would be at least latest March. If you want a
Right.
PhD in education, the deadline for PhDs are normally December. So if you want, okay, let me just use this year. If you wanted to come here 2024 August, the deadline for many PhDs is going to be December 2023, January, at most February. I've never seen any school past February for PhD. If you want a master's, you may get a deadline of up to March 2020, March of this year. So basically, you have to just start planning a year ahead. So it's just you may be working on your thesis right now, you may not have the time. I would say prepare as soon as you can, but you just do what you can. Because the thing is, most funding, most assistantships come up in fall, in August.
Right.
Most of them they gonna come up in spring, which is January. Most of them come up in August. And August, the deadlines are normally March, February. So you have to figure out if you can get everything from when you're done in August, September. to the deadline in March. It's possible though.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So prepare a year ahead. Okay, don't wait for the deadlines to catch up on you. Always prepare way ahead. Okay. So Linda, thank you for your question. We'll like to take more questions. So please keep them coming. Okay, keep them coming. Keep typing them in the comment section. They are watching on Facebook, YouTube, and X. Okay, so the second one is by Solo Foku. He says, I'm from Cameroon, the English speaking sections, and I have a BSc in journalism and mass communication. NDSU doesn't have Cameroon on their list of countries they waive English proficiency.
Okay, what you should do, write an email. If you want to come for a master's in communication, send an email to the graduate coordinator in the communication department and the graduate admissions officer, that's graduate school. Let them know that you completed your BSc in English. You completed your BSc in English and you don't like you don't need TOEFL because all your schooling has been in English. So what can be done? So maybe they may ask you for a letter demonstrating. Seems like it's already demonstrating that it was in English or something. Maybe there's something they can do, but just ask. The graduate coordinator in communication and the graduate coordinator in communication and the graduate school, write an email to them and let them know this, that you did have an English background, do have an English background.
Right. Thank you, Fogo, for your question, and thank you, Obehi, for your answer. Yes, so there's always, this is not a dead end. There's always a way around it. You can always
Yeah,
write to the department to get a letter. Even with Ghana, right? Sometimes we are applying to schools that, don't, they are trying to tell you that we are requesting TOEFL from international students, but you can always write to them and tell them, that, hey, I have an English proficiency letter from my English department which shows that my instruction of learning was in English. So please let me be exempt from this requirement. And they are going to do it for you. They are very, very open
yeah,
and friendly.
yeah. Just ask.
Yeah. So I'll come to the other section of the question. I'm going to take more questions. So we're going to
Okay.
go ahead with our conversation. We are still talking about studying abroad on full scholarship. And Obey has experience in master's and PhD. So no matter where you are throwing your questions from, she's going to grab them and answer them. Okay. Now, tell us about your traveling experience. How did you prepare moving to a new country? Was there so much money involved and all that?
Well, I had to get a list of things that people normally use to travel. I think I got that online. I tried to buy as much as I could. I didn't carry that many clothes. They said you wouldn't need that many clothes. I was wishing I did. I tried to grab some clothes, tried to buy food items and everything. So here is something. If you have an assistantship, if you don't have that much money, you can still come. Here is how people do it. Okay, yeah, here's how people do it. So let's say you're able to get your ticket, you travel down, right? When you come in, you normally have like 20 days deadline to pay health insurance and every other thing. So some people, what they do is that if they don't have, because they're not going to pay you immediately you come. For example,
Yeah,
NDSU
that's
starts
true.
August 16th. You wouldn't get paid till September 15th. But deadlines
Hmm.
for payment, health insurance and course fees will be September 12th. So by September 12th, they would apply your GA, your tuition waiver, but then you
Hmm.
still have your course fees and health insurance, and you need to survive. So what some people do is
Yeah.
that when they come, as soon as they come and they've gotten their social security number, they get a credit card, and then they use that credit card to survive till when they
Till the
have
pay
been paid
drops.
to when they've been paid, then they now start paying it off. Because if you start a credit card like Discover credit card, you're not really charged interest if you don't pay up everything in that month. You can pay off the minimum $40 a month. And then of course once you've been paid in September, you'll be able to pay it off. So I would still say have some money when you're coming, have some money saved up from your work or family contributions. But then if you have a GA, it's going to be easier to survive than having to borrow money through credit card or through a loan or people and be managing. Just
Yeah.
try to not just for getting the visa, but try to have full funding because and that's from what we said from doing the research, checking the website, seeing the wordings if you will be assured funding, asking the graduate coordinator, is there funding available? What can I do? Do all this research and then see if you can have funding because it will make your life so much easier here.
It makes it easier. And I think that even though we are paid every 2 weeks, your
Yeah,
first month here, you're not going to get that 2 week pay, right?
exactly. Yeah,
I
you won't
believe that
get
is
it.
so funny. So I don't know if it's the same for every school in the US. I don't
I
know.
think so. I think it is.
Oh,
But it
okay.
makes
So,
sense when you think about it,
mhm.
though.
Yeah, because you're given like that 1 month to kind of settle in, get your SSN and all that.
No, it's not even that. Like, for example, if you're being paid, you worked August 16th to August
Mhm,
31st. So when you're
mhm.
being paid on the, sorry, so your first payment is September 15th, right? So
Yeah,
September 15th pay is what you worked from August 16th to August 31st. I know it's
right.
inconvenient, but the thing is that when you come to summer in May, you will finish working when you before your spring semester ends in May, let's say May 11th, you're going to be paid May
Right.
31st, but you may not work May 15th to May 31st because of the
Yeah.
backlog. Because the
Hmm.
what you will be paid May 31st is what you have worked from um ending of April to May 15th. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So because
Yeah.
of that backlog, you're able to be paid May 31st,
Hmm.
even if you don't work till the end of the month, end of the
Yeah.
semester.
So it's like a breathing space for you to find the next job so that you are not broke whilst you're waiting.
Exactly.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Guys,
Mm.
I'm interviewing Obehi. We are talking about full scholarship opportunities. We have even showed you right here two opportunities that were open, one in the NDSU and one in Ohio State University. And that even points to the fact that a lot of people are moving to Ohio. And I was like, why is everybody moving to Ohio? I didn't know they had a juicy scholarship over there. So that explains it.
Maybe because it's not
That
cold.
explains it.
This place is so
Yeah, yeah,
cold.
yeah. And the weather. Let's talk about the weather because we're part of the whole traveling experience. Now,
All
you
right.
coming, when did you arrive? Did you arrive in the winter or in the summer or in the fall? And
I
how was the
arrived
weather for you?
for my master's. I arrived here in August. I arrived here in
Okay.
August. My first year, winter started in November. And but then fall or autumn started like in September, so it was so cold. I was always cold. Like I just remember being cold. I'm even cold right now. My feet are cold. I'm far from the
Yeah.
heater. Like because North Dakota is just like 2 hours to Canada, so we're kind
Yeah.
of closer. We're closer to the North Pole. That's why it's be colder here than in Texas.
Hmm.
So it's really
Tell
cold,
them.
and you have to be ready because winter here is 6 months. I'm not trying to discourage anyone, please. I'm just trying to give the reality. Winter can start in November and end in April or May here. It can start in December and end in May. So here's the thing: when you're coming, you just be prepared mentally. You will buy a lot of clothes, winter coats, winter gloves, winter boots, very warm trousers, a lot of them, cap, have portable heater, have like there are a lot of things you can do,
Yeah.
have heating pads. So you just have to be prepared that it's going to be cold if you're in North Dakota. If you're in other states like Texas, oh, you'll enjoy yourself. Oh.
Yeah. Just wear
From what I
t-shirt.
hear.
And
Where should
Texas,
I be
just wear
going?
t-shirt. You're good.
Yeah.
Okay. I see a question dropped from our previous discussion. I think he was talking about the associated cost with regards to preparing for your interview and all that, your service fee and all that. Tell us about
Okay, service fee. Okay. So to prepare, to get my service fee, it was $350. It
it.
cost $350.
And before
Okay.
that, now in
Yeah.
Nigeria, are you able to pay there? Because for those of us that came from Ghana, we had to let someone in the US pay on our behalf. I don't know if it's the same for Nigeria.
As at the time I was doing my own, for a brief period, you could use your card and pay at the time, but then they stopped
Oh,
that.
okay.
So now you can only use a dollar card. But if it's service fee, you can only pay for service fee here. Somebody has to help you because it's either you use money order or Western Union. So somebody here has to help you pay service fee, which is $350 or 60
Oh,
with Western Union. Yeah. Then other things, if you have a dollar card, you can pay for it over here. If not, if not, you pay for it. Yeah. So service fee was $350. GRE was $260. The admission fee, you can get admission fee waivers. Check their website. Sometimes if you attend online sessions with the school, they will give you a concession. You can also ask the graduate coordinator, please ask these people, do you have application fee waiver? So that one was
yeah.
$30 for NDSU. What else? And West evaluation. I didn't even know this on time. Sometimes, if you can just get your university to send your transcript to, like, for example, to NDSU directly, you won't have to do West evaluation. So you don't always have to
Right.
do West evaluation. It's easier sometimes if you want to have a transcript at hand. So West evaluation was, I think, 200 and something. But I found out IEE is even cheaper. And honestly, they would answer
Oh,
you
okay.
more than West. People don't know IEE. IEE, it's cheaper than West, and they respond way
Yeah, I
better
think people
than
know only
West.
West, so they spend a lot of money there. And because they have that kind of uh not really monopoly, but in this context, I'll call it monopoly. Because
Yes.
of that power that they have, they tend to charge way higher. But the Spantrans and the FCS, I think I use a
Yes.
foreign credential. Yeah, they charge low, and they're all part of any CES board, you know.
And West doesn't really respond to you. I'm not trying to turn
Hmm.
on your business, but like if you need a quick
Yeah.
response, i.e., I was chatting with them all times of the night in Nigeria. These people they were answering me repetitively. So I don't know why, but
Yeah.
I really prefer IE and it's cheaper. So yeah, so
Hmm.
West, application fee you can get a waiver if you ask. That was $30 for NDSC application fee. West was like $250. Service fee was $350. Getting my transcripts from Uniben
Okay, let's do a quick
was
calculation here.
okay. Are we
Let's
using
do a
Naira?
quick.
Will you convert everything to Naira?
Yes, we will. We'll
Okay.
do a conversion. So I'll open another chat for that.
Okay. So 200
So
and
let's do Naira.
what is Naira
Naira
to
to
dollar
USD,
now?
right? Okay.
Okay, you have to do
So before
USD to
that,
Naira. Okay. You have to
yeah, when I type it here, it's going to change it.
okay. So
Okay.
application fee waiver.
Okay.
Application fee
So let's
$30.
$30.
Yeah. Then GRE was I think $250.
250. Uh-huh.
What else? GRE West was I think 250. I
Hmm.
think 250.
Yeah, somewhere around that.
So application fee service for when you actually get admission is 350. Getting your
Hmm.
transcript from a Nigerian public university.
Hmm.
Well,
By
it
conversion.
costs okay, I don't know how to okay.
Okay,
I
let
think
me
it
just
was
convert it and add it.
70,000 naira to dollars.
Okay.
70,000 naira to
Okay,
USD.
42. Okay,
42.
so let's add it here. 42.55. Uh-huh.
I think this was the major thing.
These are the major things, right?
That's if you need GRE and if you need West. If you can knock out GRE and
Okay.
West, your life will be easier. Yeah, so I think this is it.
Okay, so that was 922.
Yeah.
And this excludes flight after you've gotten your visa.
Yeah, this includes flight.
So
And that's just for
922
one school.
is 1.5 million,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is how much you have to budget. That's
I mean, it's
how
more
much you
than
have to
that. I don't know what exchange
budget.
rate Google is using right now because I don't know if it's black market rate. So,
Yeah, maybe. I think you have different rates, right? I think you have two
yeah.
rates, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, it's just the
So,
economy is just something now. But at least maybe somebody would need like 2, 3 million for to start
hmm.
to do
Oh,
this
okay.
process.
For starters, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. I see. So, what advice would you give for managing finance as an international student? We know you are going through all this course coming here, now you're going to start afresh, have a
When they
fresh
start paying you.
slate. Yes, yes, when they start paying you and all that. So, how do you go about managing your finances? Do you eat out? Do you cook? Like, what do you do? Just give us some tips on that.
Okay. All right. I will, but I want to include something that we forgot to say. When you're doing your
Sure.
research for funding, please make sure that the assistantship offered by the school actually covers your tuition fully. Because sometimes you may
Mm,
have a GA, but it may be a partial tuition waiver.
right.
NDSU for communication, they cover your tuition fully. You just have like maybe $250 course fee to pay. But some courses like public health, they are only covering half of your tuition. So you have to figure
Mhm.
out the remaining 5,000 or $6,000 if you're doing two courses by yourself. So please do your research and check that the school is covering your tuition fully so that you know that after you've paid your health insurance and your course fee, that your stipend is your own. So please check
Yeah.
that. And also, if most people don't know they can apply for PhD directly from bachelor's. You can. Just make sure
Yes.
you have multiple PhDs and multiple masters that you're applying to and have enough research papers to back that you're actually applying for a PhD. All right. So how to manage your money? If you've made
Mm-hmm.
sure that you have a full tuition waiver, you've paid off your health insurance, maybe from the money you save from Nigeria, you paid off your course fees. Now the stipend that you have, the stipend would vary depending on the course. Some courses are enjoying, some courses enjoy. Of course, PhD students are paid more than master students. So
Right.
first of all, the major thing is rent. You can try and live with people, it's going to be cheaper. Living in a two-bedroom flat and sharing the cost will be cheaper than living in a one-bedroom, will be cheaper than living in a studio. So there are communities online, there are Facebook pages. For example, NDSU has an NDSU roommates page. Every school may have a place where you can check apartments available on Facebook. I think many schools have. And then on the school website, they
Yeah.
also have school apartments that can be cheaper. So check the
Mm-hmm.
apartments. Check on Facebook. You may know that people coming to the school, other people who are in the school. You can find that out and then try and live with somebody. It could be a two-room, one bathroom or whatever. Try and live with people to be cheaper so that
Mm.
your rent is cheaper. So if you know that, let's say you're getting $1,000 a month, and let's say you manage to live with someone and your rent is $400 a month, then you know that you have to pay food, buy food, and you have to buy transport. Please, you cannot be buying food every day. To buy food here in NDS now is $13 for one meal. You can't be buying food
Wow.
up and down. Well, you can, depending on who you are, you can, sorry. But I personally, I
Mm-hmm.
buy and I cook. I cook. I buy
Yeah.
and I cook. I buy food and I cook to save money. I also have a budget. I have like a spreadsheet of where my money is coming to. I'm a very organized person.
Yeah.
So I know where my money is going to and I know what I'm trying to
Yeah.
save for. I know where I'm trying to spend for and I try to save. You have to save no matter how little your stipend is, you have to save. Even if it's
Mm.
$50 or $100, be consistent with that saving because you don't know what will happen in summer. So save as much as you can and manage your money very well. Don't try to be flashy and be buying the flashiest of things. You're not competing with anyone but yourself, please. So
That's
just
good.
manage your money and have a budget. I mean, it's true. You would see people buying exorbitant things with a very small stipend, and you wonder
Yeah,
how, why.
he's in America now, so he has to get the iPhone 16, right?
Oh, please. Oh, please. Okay.
Okay, guys, let me show you this. For those of you who want to come to NDSU, they have a page, right? NDSU
Yeah.
Roommates, where you can go there. I'm sure many other schools have that. You can just go there, search, or you can even post or share a picture. I don't know if I used to be part of this group when I was back in school. And you see
Yeah.
the way people share images, right? He says,
They're
I'm
looking
looking for
for
some, this
roommates.
just 2 days ago, looking for someone to sublease my apartment at purchase rent. Rent is 780. This is very high. I don't know how much you have.
Yeah, it's high. This is high. University
Yeah.
Village for NDSU is even cheaper.
Hmm.
There are many people
Yeah,
looking
and,
for
and you can even
places.
use the search feature, right, to type maybe like 350. Okay, to see if you can get someone. I think this person was looking for someone. He says rent is around 350. So you can use that to also get
Yeah.
uh the low rates, right? So how much were you paying when you came, your master's program? How much are you paying for rent?
For rent. Okay, so I couldn't get an apartment when I came in. So I had to stay in the residence hall. Because if you don't apply for, you can also apply, apart from NDS rooms, you can apply for apartments directly in the school website. They have cheap apartments. So, but they run out quickly. So I couldn't get that. So I had
Yeah.
to stay in the residence hall. Residence hall was really expensive for a semester. You pay per semester. So that one
Yeah.
for a month was like 500 and approximately 500 or 600 and something a month. But then when I was able to move to an apartment and have a roommate, I was
Hmm.
paying 300 and something dollars a month till I got a third roommate. Then it became 200 and something dollars a month.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right, guys, thank you for joining. At this point, I want you to just spend 2 seconds or even 1 second to drop a like on the videos, Facebook, YouTube, and X while you are watching. Keep your questions coming in. We are going to take more questions. I'm open to taking more questions. You are watching the Study Abroad Experience podcast. This is also going to be available on Spotify. It's going to be on Apple Podcast. We have iHeartRadio, Deezer, all those platforms. You can simply access these discussions that we have and then listen over and over. Maybe you are driving and you can't watch, right? But you can listen at least. So you can tune in and then listen. and it's going to be very impactful for you. Okay, so I see a couple of people giving shout outs. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining. Now, what advice, what has been your, um, do you see your career aspiration coming to fruition based on your career path? Do you see, like, are you seeing yourself in the next 5 years pursuing law in such a way that you know that everything that I've studied have been blended together to becoming something very, very useful for me in the future? How do you see it?
Okay, so my career aspirations have evolved over time. I mean, before I did my when I was doing my master's in communication, at first I really wanted to work in industry. I wanted to work in a media company. I mean, that's what I thought I wanted, and I really was focused on getting that. But then, as I was teaching, I realized passion in it. I mean, you
Mm,
teach people. I was teaching public speaking, and then you see how somebody tells you how much you impacted their life because they had
yeah,
serious anxiety, and then you now help them out of
yeah,
it. Or as I'm teaching
yeah.
English, I see how much I'm able to impact like people.
Hmm.
It's really there's nothing like it. So as I was teaching, though I wanted to work in industry, I realized I have a lot of passion for it. And then as I'm
Right,
doing a research area that I want to do, I'm realizing, okay, I like teaching. I like this research I'm doing. I can actually be a professor. So
right.
I'm saying that because my research, my career, what I wanted evolved over time as I just kept doing
Hmm.
things. It evolved. So your wants may evolve over time, and that's okay.
But were
What you
you
may think you
already
may want
teaching? Were you
as a
already
master's
teaching in this
student.
area? No, in Nigeria before you
My
came.
mom owns a school, a Sphin school. My mom owns a school,
Oh,
so I
okay.
was teaching in it and helping manage it. But it was primary school. It's a primary school. But now I'm teaching college students. So I was teaching and doing many things actually, but
Okay.
I'm just trying to say that as I was teaching here as a master student, I realized that I actually love teaching and I love research. So even though I
Hmm.
started out wanting to work in industry, I'm at a point now that I want to be a professor. So I'm just going to say that your interest may evolve over time, and that's okay. So now I see how everything is coming together for what I want now.
Oh, okay. So for people that want to pursue a program like yours, right, they are going to be given
Yeah.
teaching assistantship positions, but they've
Yes.
never had any prior teaching experience. Do you think that they are going to make it? Will the school really consider such
Yes, they
people?
will be fine. No, yes, please. Anyone can teach. I've seen people that have serious fear of public speaking teach. You can teach. You just no. They would. They at least when the department trains you on how to teach anyway, they will give you like an orientation, and they would help. They would help you out. They train you on how to teach, and they help you out. So you can definitely do it. You can please. You can do anything you want to do if you put your mind to it. The
If
department
you
helps
put
you
your
out.
mind to it.
Yeah, it helps you out. But also if you can say you've taught somewhere, it also helps. But you can I've seen people that have not taught before, but they got teaching assistantship. So please, if you think you can do it, you can. If you think you can't do it, you can't. You can do anything really.
You can do anything that you put your mind to. So
Yes, you
for
can.
people that are in the communication and English,
Yeah.
sector, what are their job prospects after school? Do they have to, go into academia by force, or there's some other areas that they can explore?
Well, the truth is, academia is very common for people in arts, communication, and English. But you can work in industry. You can. There are different jobs you can do.
Mm,
You can be a social media expert. You can be a content writer. You can work in advertising. You can really work in almost anything. It's just that there are a lot of people also pursuing it. For example, if you want to work in Amazon, Amazon may have a lot of tech jobs, but they still have a lot of content.
right.
They still have content writer jobs. My research area in
Mhm.
communication was UX research. There were UX research jobs available. Like when I was checking, like
The
LinkedIn, there
US,
are.
yeah, user experience, right?
Yeah, user experience research, there
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
What I would say, I'll advise this. If you're going to come to communication and English because you have the passion, do it. But please try to have a STEM skill. Try to have a skill that would be marketable that you can use. Even if it's maybe you are writing and you can help in reviewing AI and AI tools
Mhm.
or something. So it's like you're pursuing your passion, but you're being practical. So, for example, some of
Mm,
us now, our research areas, as much as it may be something nice in literature, we may want to connect it to maybe something in AI. Because even what we're teaching, for example, now, the course I'm going to take next semester, American literature. Do you know the books that we're going to be studying? This movie that just came out, I Robot.
Yeah.
I Robot, another one. So you can even the literature now they are trying to focus on AI, robotics.
AI. Wow.
Do you
Wow.
get? So it's that you
It's
can come
also
and do your
evolving.
passion. Exactly. So do English and communication, but if you can try to do something maybe in AI or something in tech while doing literature, it would really give you an advantage. So just kind of like pursue
Hmm.
passion, but also be practical. That's what I would tell anyone right now.
Wow. Wow. I like that. I like that. They are not restricting English to just being in a class and reading William Shakespeare or
Ah, no, in this age and time, no.
Now, Kofi
Oh,
Jr. says, I'm a BSc accounting student, but I wish to apply for higher education and student affairs in NDSU. Can you be a mentor to me?
oh my gosh. Yes, I would love to. I would. I don't know how I would do that for everyone. Is it to open a channel and give people advice? I would love to do that. That's why I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Yes, I would.
I think it will be very good for you to, explore reaching out to a larger audience,
Yes,
through
I
social
will.
media, since
I
you are
will. I
touching in
will.
that area too.
I will work on that. Thank you. Yes, I'd love to be a mentor. It's just I don't know how I would. Do you have like a maybe Google Docs for people that tuned in that maybe want more information from me or a
Yes,
way
so
to communicate
yes,
with them?
since I have the Telegram page, you can always
Yes.
reach out to me over there. And the Telegram page is very simple to access. If you just go there and search for Coming to America without the
Okay.
spaces. So type
Coming to
everything
America.
together. Yes. All right. So I'm just displaying on the screen here. Coming to America, type everything together, and then you see my page. So from there, you can have access to me, and then you can reach out to her as well.
Yeah,
Okay.
that would be
So
better.
yes. What is your final advice for someone who is just starting the study abroad, process? How should they prepare mentally, financially, physically? Yeah, tell us something.
Okay. I think the biggest thing you have to have an open mind. You have to have an open mind to everything. I'm for example, if you want to be in US, also have other options. Maybe you have an option in a European country. Just keep your options open. Know what you want, but have an open mind. For example, you want to apply to a certain school, you want to be in that school at all costs, apply to other schools, apply to different programs. With my bachelor's in law, I'm doing English and communication. Somebody could do education. You could do anything, literally, the way it works in the US. If you can prove that you have worked in that area, you've done research in that area, they can actually give you admission in a different
Mm,
field than what you studied in bachelor's. So it doesn't have to be closed-minded that because you've done this all your life, you're going to keep doing that. So have an open mind to everything. Apply to different schools, search for funding, apply to different countries, and have an open mind on especially the interview process. You just want to have an open mind to everything and have different options available. Because me, as I had, even though I applied to just NDSU, I had backup plans like, okay, if this doesn't work, I'm going to do this. If that doesn't work, I'm going
yeah,
to do this. You have to have alternatives for yourself and for your own peace of mind because you don't know what will happen. So that's why you should have an open mind and have different options and just keep trying. I'm saying this because I know there are many people who have been denied US visa interview. It is
yeah,
heartbreaking and it's really a horrible experience.
yeah,
But
yeah,
honestly, don't give up because some people, if you want to study in US, by all means, some people try a European country or they try an Asian country and then they get in here. Some people like
yeah.
have entered China to teach English and
Hmm.
Japan. They're looking for English teachers, ESL teachers, and then from there they try
Yeah,
to get their masters here. So you can
that's
have an
true.
open mind to anything and don't give up on your dream. If it doesn't happen this year, it doesn't mean it will not happen.
Exactly, exactly. That's
Yeah,
that's very true. Even for me at a point in time, I was considering Europe, even countries
yeah,
like Hungary. And I have a
yeah,
friend who went to South Korea, and through South Korea, he accessed US. But from Ghana to US was a struggle.
yes,
And because it was there, it was very easy. The first one he tried Canada, he didn't get, and then he tried
yeah.
US and he had it. And today he's studying his
Wow.
masters in Texas. So it's
Wow.
also possible for
That's
you.
so
So,
cool.
like she said,
Yeah.
have an open mind, right? And then
Yeah.
be daring, explore, do more research. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I believe this episode has been very, very insightful for the fact that we don't have more questions coming in, I believe that everyone's doubts and concerns have been addressed. So I want
Thank
to
you.
especially thank you for coming on. I don't know if you have any final words for us. If you do, we'll take them. If you don't, we'll
Well,
just
I was really happy to be here. I honestly hope that everything I shared helped someone or gave someone hope in this process because I know it's not an
yeah.
easy process. But honestly, I feel
Hmm.
like if you can complete the US JAPA process, you can do anything because it's 1 year
Do
of
anything.
consistency and dedication, regardless of things not working out or hope seeming so far, but you keep going on. If you can complete this, you can honestly do anything. So just you can like you said, you can reach out to me through his Telegram page and I can get questions or
Hmm.
whatever. So yeah, there's a lot of help out there for you. So I'm really happy to have done this. Thank you so much for having me, Danny.
Thank you too. Thank you too. It's been an honor hosting you, and you have been a very, very engaging and interesting guest. So thank you for sharing all the experience, and thank you for also accepting the invite. I really, really do appreciate it. All right, and we're also waiting for your channel. When it comes out, we'll give you a follow. I'll give you more shout outs. So
Can I also give a
that's
shout out?
good.
My family joined in and I saw
Yes,
their
yes,
names. I saw my husband
yes.
and my mom and everything. I just want to give a shout out to them for joining, my family members that joined. Yeah. All
That
right.
is great. That is great. Thank you so much for joining,
All right.
family. Shout outs to the family.
All right.
And
Okay.
thanks to
Bye.
all the audience for joining. I'll see you in
Mm-hmm.
my next episode. Bye.
Okay. Bye.
I believe you're enlightened by this podcast session. Don't forget to stay connected as I'll be bringing you more episode after episode. This is a Study Abroad experience. Then a legend here.